Squad Conquest, the new 8 vs 8 game mode to hit the battlefield only for a limited amount of time. A different approach from Battlefield 1, where every DLC introduced different game modes, everywhere from our more popular ones such as Frontlines, to not so popular ones like Supply Drop. For this Battlefield lifecycle though, it appears like DICE wants to go down the direction of testing the waters, to adding additional game modes temporarily, to see how the community reacts positively or negatively, and deciding from there if it's worth making it a permanent addition to the Battlefield multiplayer playlist. And how they've gone about ensuring the fact that we as the community would have to experience this new game mode is by the first week of our new Lightning Strikes Tides of War chapter, requiring us to play 3 games with Squad Conquest to move on from our first mission, then coming back to the final mission and requiring us to win 1 game of Squad Conquest in order to unlock the new exclusive Medic SMG for this week. So the question I have is this whole approach to the new game modes the way to go? I mean, yes, of course, introducing a new game mode is important in my opinion to the life cycle of a game. It keeps it from becoming the most obvious of reasons, stale, and prevents people from getting bored over time. It also gives you that expectation of something new around the corner, maybe something new that you might actually enjoy. So you don't necessarily have to go out and go buy a new game to experience something new, as you'll already have something new coming in the game that you're already enjoying. And because the way DICE is introducing the new game mode, requiring you to have to play Squad Conquest in the Tides of War progression system, you'll have people who will have to come around to playing this game who normally might not have been interested in the first place, nevertheless actually enjoying it after they give it a shot. So of course, new game modes aren't a bad thing. It's when the game modes, simply put, just aren't fun. And then you sit back as a player wondering how many resources went into developing this new mode, only to be something you're not interested in, and then the game ends up being a game mode of spite to you, being the playlist that is sapping players that otherwise should have made it onto the server of the game mode you're playing, filling that server to the max players and giving you your usual, normal, satisfactory experience to the game mode you really enjoy. Of course, these are just a few pros and cons on one of many different ways you may look at it. Personally, how I see it, as much as I see the Battlefield experience as those higher play count game modes such as Conquest and Breakthrough, and tearing me away from those would be as it is, tearing me away from them, it's still necessary in my opinion to have DICE exploring new modes, even if they are the smaller play count ones like Squad Conquest. More my concern is how much of the resources are they playing with here? Is it worth using those resources for anything less than a surefire success on the battlefield, especially when you're having some major performance issues affecting your game? Now that's something that only DICE can truly know, but from the little bit of information we got from what Squad Conquest released with it being only on a few maps, and I have a feeling I bet those maps were the maps that developers thought would more naturally fit this new game mode, whether it be between the spacing of the flags and how the terrain worked, or maybe just had a more natural flow to this game mode or not. Regardless of what it is, I'm hoping that the DICE went down the direction of finding something that would easily flow and wouldn't take a lot of resources, but would be able to introduce something new and have the possibility to expand upon that, whether the community liked it or not. So I feel like this is actually a good approach. It's also something I really like is how they have the game modes for a limited amount of time, as it makes me feel like, hey, now's a good time to play this game mode as it won't be here for me later, rather than the older model where my position was, well, there's a new game mode, I'll get to it, and I would end up never getting to it at all. So really actually how DICE is going about doing this in those regards is actually a positive note for me. It's only how they implemented it into Tides of War is what I can't stand. It's how, no matter what, you have to play this new game mode in order to progress. It's something to me I don't think is good on the battlefield. I always like players having the option to choose how they want to play, rather than the developers choosing for them. And I think this is something important to maintain. I understand it can be said, well, if you don't make it mandatory, who knows if there will be enough players playing the game, and I understand I could be wrong here, but I think the very fact that DICE has taken this game mode away after a short amount of time is enough to motivate players to try it out. And if they wanted to help incentivize players more, make it one of those optional missions, like for this week where we had to revive 6 teammates in 1 life, where the only reason you're doing it is to give you more of those XP points, or do something like a dedicated double XP just for the new game mode. Again, giving more XP that will help you rank up quicker for this Tides of War chapter rewards. But that's just my brief take on it. If you want a little insight how DICE is thinking, we got a tweet reply from David Serlin where he shed a little bit of light on how this won't be a weekly thing, where you have to play these new game modes in order to unlock the weekly reward, but it seems from DICE's perspective this does help them get the valuable testing they do need. But what do you guys think about all of this? Would you already be motivated to try these new game modes out, knowing that they'll be eventually gone, and who knows if you get a chance to try them out again? Or does DICE putting the new game modes behind required Tides of War missions to unlock those exclusive weekly content going to be the only way you'll come around to playing these new modes? But that is it for you guys today. Again, I always appreciate you guys being here. I am Livin', and I'll catch you guys again later.